Greetings everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Captain Rye, and today we'll be looking at a World of Warship video in a ship class that you will rarely if ever see me play. Yeah, that's right, I'm playing an aircraft carrier. Why don't I like aircraft carriers? Well, twofold. At the lower tiers, tier 4, 5, and 6, you really just don't have enough planes in your hangar to go in and pull gutsy maneuvers. They tend to get shot down by anything with moderately decent anti-aircraft, and if you run into a competent player that knows how to use strafing, you end up fighter capped very, very quickly. And at high tiers, well, you've got a lot to think about. There's a lot. It is, as somebody put it, mentally taxing when you have to deal with 8 different units, none of which you can control macro so that you condense them down in number of buttons that you have to push to select them and what you'd like them to do. So, yeah, I just don't play aircraft carriers very often. In fact, according to Warships stats, I play aircraft carriers less than 4% of the time. The battle is a tier 4 maximum battle, and I am in the Langley. So this should be pretty interesting. There are 2 aircraft carriers per battle in this matchup, and I've already managed to find the Hosho and all of his lovely airplanes. Again, I know how to use strafing. So, going to go in and immediately shoot down a whole squadron of his torpedo bombers because I don't think he deserves them. I found a nice cluster of enemy ships here and managed to get my bombers to drop on the St. Louis and my torpedo bombers. Unfortunately, I did not lead those torpedoes enough. Well, I didn't drop them far enough away, and they didn't have time to arm as the St. Louis, who is paying attention, he's clearly no scrub, managed to turn his ship in. And while he did hit one, it didn't have time to arm. Oh well, I figured that might end up happening the first drop I performed, because again, it's been a while since I've played this, and remembering how far out I need to hit things is always going to be a problem. There's the enemy Langley's fighters, and I managed to shoot all of them down in a nice successful strafing run. And that right now seems to be about the most I can actually do in this battle for my team. The enemy team has managed to capture one of the cap points, and they've already managed to sink one of our ships. And of course, it's a destroyer. Things in this battle are going to get very, very pear-shaped very, very quickly. In fact, at one point, I'm almost going to consider just suiciding, because it's much more enjoyable to kill myself than it is to give the enemy players the satisfaction. Or at least that's what I usually end up doing when I play carriers, and one of the reasons I rarely do it. This strafing run I'm trying to set up on these fighters, well, I misjudged that and unfortunately managed to miss the fighters altogether. But it's important to note that whoever's fighters those are, that carrier does not actually know how to use strafing, because otherwise he should have just come in right behind me and strafed my fighters down while they were locked into their strafe. He did, however, disengage his aircraft and allow my fighters to not only continue their strafe, but get away with it. So my planes have come back. There are those fighters again, and, well, I'm going to shoot all of them down. So I have a little bit of ammo left in my fighters. I spot another set of torpedo bombers, and I don't know what this strafe was doing. This made no sense. I should have shot down at least 3 of them. But my planes turned, and as a result of doing the strafe, they've completely run out of ammo, and now they're locked in a dogfight with no ammo and no way to get back to the carrier. I'm continuing to try and drop bombs for my dive bombers on this Wyoming. It's not working out very well. He's turning, and RNG dispersion on American dive bombers, as they always say, is a problem. Getting my torpedo bombers up here Hopefully, I don't make the same mistakes as last time. But if you haven't already figured it out, yep, that drop is too close to that Wyoming, and none of my torpedoes are going to arm that hit him. And I would have hit him for 3 of them. I would have caused a significant amount of damage. And, well, I managed to botch it. I managed to pull a war beastie. Enemy team has managed to capture 2 cat points now, and yeah, they've managed to basically lose 1 ship to our 5 ships, and they are up massively on points. We're down to 80 points. If we lose 2 more ships, any 2 ships, we will lose the game. We can't let this happen. And this is about the point I'm actually kind of contemplating whether or not I should just kill myself on the next dive bomber and torpedo bomber run. But looking at the situation, we did just capture B. We still have 2 destroyers left. So I'm kind of thinking, well, you know, maybe I will just stick about. At the very least, I can continue shooting down planes. And now that the enemy has lost their carrier, well, one of their carriers, we don't have to worry about as many dive bombers and or torpedo bombers. I think they lost their Hosho, so that's going to be all torpedo bombers. I've decided I'm frustrated with the auto drops, so I'm going to go ahead and pull a manual drop on this Nassau here, and I actually managed to hit him, set him on fire with a bomb, which is, I mean, that's not too bad. Trying to get my fighters over to continue destroying enemy aircraft, and of course the scout fighter has engaged him and locked down my fighter. Because I lost all my fighters dealing with a dogfight with no ammo, I only have 4 of them left. Again, that goes into the frustration of low-tier CVs. Losing planes you just cannot replace. At higher tier, you can replace every squadron at least once. Shoot down those torpedo bombers that were put up by the enemy Hosho before he died, but actually didn't get to go anywhere. The enemy Langley is down there somewhere, and I'm kind of hoping that if I keep my fighters there, I'll spot any approaching aircraft as they come out. I've got torpedo bombers coming in. We have 2 Nassaus back over here, and this Nikolai, you know, I don't know what he's doing here. He's got this Nassau who's right on top of him, basically. But he is angling. But that Nikolai is actually shooting at this other Nassau down here that's lower HP. And, you know, that makes a little bit of sense. That lower HP Nassau is a perfect target. He can only turn one way, and this time I'm not going to make the mistake of accidentally dropping too close. So I'm going to give it a nice long drop and let all of my torpedoes arm, and I hit him for 3 and kill him. Performed a strafe on another set of enemy aircraft there and accidentally shot down one of my friendly CV's fighters. That was the only team damage I did in the battle. I shot down 1 fighter from that Hosho. Looking at the team situation, we're still down on points. We've gained some back, but the enemy team is consistently going to stay 400 to 500 points ahead of us. And they still hold 2 caps. They still have a ship advantage right now, which is a big problem for us, because we're about to lose a Clemson who got to suicide range of that Wyoming and really hasn't actually managed to kill him in the process. I don't know if this Clemson has his engine knocked out. This is one of the other reasons I don't play CVs. I don't like the view that you get. If I wanted to play an RTS, I would play an RTS. My bombs, combined with that Hosho hitting that Wyoming for 3 torpedo hits, has really put a hurt on him. Our Clemson is going to die. That Wyoming is going to finish him off, but Our Clemson is not in vain, as he did defend the B cap, and that Wyoming is dead. But we're still down by 400 plus points. And time is running out. Looking at the situation, I've decided that, as far as I can see, there's no enemy ships down by this cap. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a beeline for that. It's about this moment that both myself and the Hosho, without any form of communication, start coordinating our attacks on ships. I could have gone and attacked something completely different. But I'm looking at this St. Louis, and I'm seeing that he is a threat to the Hosho, and he's a threat to me after he kills the Hosho. So I want to start getting my attacks on this guy. And we're not going to double up on the same side and just, let him dodge all of our torpedoes completely. We do make it a little bit difficult. The advantage to the Langley is torpedoes, there's 6 of them, and they're so tightly compacted that even if you turn in, unless you're a destroyer or I drop them really far away, you are going to have a hard time dodging all of them. That St. Louis took a lot of damage between myself and that Hosho, and he's probably having second thoughts about things. But the team situation is very dire. We're still down on points. We still only have 1 cap. The enemy still has 2 caps, and it's just the 2 of us aircraft carriers left. I got my dive bombers coming up here to try and finish off this St. Louis, but looking at it, it's looking like the Hosho is going to be able to finish him off with a good torpedo bomber strike, and yes, he does manage to do it. Nails him with 1 dead center. That leaves this enemy battleship, who is capping B once again. There are 2 enemy ships left. This battleship capping B, and the Langley that neither of us has seen in quite some time. I know the Langley is slow, but given where he was at positionally, he could be anywhere in that half of the map. Fortunately, because there's 2 of us in CVs, we should be able to spot him. It's just a matter of whether or not we're going to be able to kill him. Because looking at the score situation and looking at the time left, we have to kill him. We have to kill this battleship in this cap. That has to happen. We can't win this without killing everything at this point. We simply do not have enough points. I'm trying desperately to cap. And even with that cap and the length of time that we have, the enemy team has way more points. I'm going to get my torpedo bombers in on this battleship. I managed to hit him for dive bombs. The Hosho hit him for some torpedoes, and my torpedoes are going to finish him off. Didn't kill him outright, though. It was actually the flooding tick that finished him off, which is fortunate, and part of the reason that good coordination on our part, and fortunately delayed timing, meant that his damage repairability and his damage control party had already been burned and were on cooldown when I hit him for the second attempt. Capping, finally, it's now down to just the aircraft carriers. That's it. Aircraft carrier versus aircraft carrier. My team has 2 of them, and he has 1. But where is he? Right now in his chat, in his team chat, it would not surprise me if his team was basically saying, all you have to do is stay alive, don't get spotted, don't do anything, just hide. And he was being pretty sneaky there. He was vectoring his planes way up and around to try and convince us he was hiding back up in the islands. No, he is actually all the way down at the border near me, which is nice of him. So the enemy Hosho has got his dive bombers, or his torpedo bombers coming in, and I've got my dive bombers coming in. I'm going to do a manual drop on this guy. And I think I've got it set up pretty well, but not quite far enough back. Only hit him for 1, do start 1 fire. And he manages to dodge those 2 torpedoes from the Hosho's torpedo squadron. which is really more impressive than anything considering it's a Langley. This thing's not particularly fast or maneuverable. Of course, he's got himself now, because of his maneuvering, into a position where, well, he's got a nice broadside for my torpedo squadron, and it looks like I'm going to hit him with at least 3. He is stopping, but yep, I'm going to hit him with 3. There's all 3 of them caused flooding to go with that fire damage. I basically type into chat, bye, because I thought this torpedo would kill him, but it didn't kill him. It left him on 400 health. However, my flooding damage finished the job. Victory, down on points, whole match, down on points. CVs carrying to victory, killing off everything. How did I do? Well, 200,000 credits earned and 76,000 damage done in a tier 4 Langley and 7,400 XP. This was the first one of the day, but 1,600 base XP, top of the team for XP earned. Anyway, folks, that's it for today's video. If you liked the video, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment down below. You can like me on Facebook and see updates semi-regularly and give you an idea what I'm doing for the rest of the week. And if you'd like to help support the channel, you can also visit my Patreon and donate monthly stipends or just a one-time payment if you so wish. You can find the links for both of those in the description of the video down below. This is Captain Rye, signing off.